Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. I wanted to say Monday, but it's Tuesday, May 31st. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And I hope you had a good holiday, enjoyed the 3-day break. I'm going to jump right into it tonight. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I need to get out of here. I'm having some problems with my on-demand hot water heater, and I had to take a cold shower this morning, so the guy's supposed to meet me there in 30 minutes. So I want to try to get this done and get it uploaded and get there where I can meet him. I don't want to take another cold shower tomorrow morning. But anyway, here's a look at our daily chart. You can see we rallied strongly off those lows. We backed up here. Once you push through that EMA, you would almost expect prices to pull back and retest it before they go higher, and that would take us, we're getting close to being in overbought territory here. Once you get above this purple, generally towards this brown, so hopefully the uptrend will continue and we won't just turn down from here. We'll have to see what this brings, but I would expect prices to at least come back and test that midline, and maybe that's close enough by tomorrow. By the time this thing moves on a little further, we may find out that was close enough and it actually touches it. We're kind of a day ahead. It looks like it's not quite there to me yet, so it looks like we got some more room for a downtrend. But you can see we closed back inside that range, original pink range again today. So we did come back and at least test that support, and before we bounced higher here. So we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. But so far, it's looking like we're in a correction here and a continued uptrend, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. So let's flip over to the intraday chart. We'll get through the trades, and again, I'm going to move through them pretty quickly because I need to get out of here. I'll try to keep it short today. There's not a lot of trades. There's enough, but well, you'll see. Let's flip over to the other. You can see here most of your trades were later in the afternoon, where usually you get more trades in the morning, and it was really tough pickings from about 9 to noontime. There's a really good move right here. There just wasn't a really good chance. There's a trade or two in here you might have considered, but with this trend line working down, I think it was very dangerous. It looks like a two-tiered channel working down here to me. This is actually supposed to be a little higher here, and we got the close outside. It looks like we were going to go try to make a retest of the lows, and we just kind of reversed and went sideways after that. So in the big picture, this really looks sideways kind of range. Started off pretty bearish, but anyway, let's zoom in and go through the trades, and it won't take long because there's not a lot of midday trades there, or late morning trades, let's just say. But there's one right out of the gate here, right around 7. You can see we're kind of trending downward here, and you got a new high here. You try to go higher once, twice. There's a little bit of support there, and it's like a little breakout pullback. With that being a failure, if prices break lower there, you should get a trap and a fairly nice move out of it, which you do. And if you catch this trade, depending on how if you catch a runner or not, maybe all you need for the day, and you're done by 7:15. That's the kind of trades I like. So this gives you a good start to the day. And then notice we came back up and we made a lower high. We tried to go higher once, twice. This didn't technically break higher here, but you can clearly see prices tried to go higher twice there. And so I mark that with, if you have enough room back to that EMA, that's probably worth trying, because we should have made a new high here. And the fact that we didn't means we're probably going to at least come back to the EMA. It's a little sideways though, and it's just not a perfect setup, so I marked it green. And of course the bottom just falls out of it. And there's another second entry here. I didn't mark this one either because I don't think you want to go short here. If you saw this and wanted to take it on the engulfing bar, it looks a little too congested for that to me. So I didn't mark it. And of course we run on down, and plus we've already got a new well, we don't have a new low yet, but by the time this bar closes we do. So you definitely don't want to go short way down here. You'd have to take the engulfing bar, and there's just not enough room to scalp out. It looks congested, so just skip that. We get a nice second entry short here, but the signal bar is no good, so that makes that congestion. and then we bounce and go higher here. It's just really hard to know. Prices won't act like they want to go higher, and they should, but they're really struggling. So I don't see anything here worth trying to risk a long on, to be honest with you. And then suddenly you push down, you get a first entry, you push through, you get a second entry, and it fails, and it does confirm that trend line. That's the third touch on a failed second entry long. I like that trade. Again, pretty good little move there. You probably don't get a runner on that one, unfortunately. Uh, and you just get a first entry here, so nothing you really want to take there. And then we're bouncing, and you would expect prices are still trying to come back to that trend line. So you got this uptrend here. There is a second entry long right here, but I think it's too risky. I don't know if prices actually ticked lower there, but I still don't like that. The low is 41.1650. Yeah, it's just an equal low there, so prices don't actually break lower. But I don't like that trade just because you're going long right into some resistance across there. It turns out to be a great trade, but it's not one I like. Then you're just working down, get a first entry, then a second entry, and signal bar is not any good. You're below the EMA. You do get a break in a new low. If you had a really good signal bar that closed right at or just maybe through the EMA, maybe you take that trade, but because you're expecting prices to make a new high. And somebody will probably ask me, well, what about the failure here? But it technically doesn't fail. So it does fail, but it doesn't fail till here. And it would have worked. I just think that by the time it gets way up here with this big bar, you don't really want to risk that. So don't trade that failure. You get another failure right here on the wrong side of the EMA. Again, it would have worked, but I don't like it. So, and we're just kind of stuck here, right? There's resistance across here, and it's the trend line's coming down through there too. This was a major trend line. And so prices are just coming right down through there. So you really got to be careful trying to go long here. I'd be looking for a short. And the only thing I saw that I liked was you made this high, you came back, you tested it once, you went lower, you came back and you tested it twice. So when and there's a good bit of room back to the EMA. So I like taking that. And if you take this turns out to be a great trade. And then you get a first entry, second entry, but you also get a first entry, second entry short. And I marked that one just because it looks like we're really about to take off. Again, the key would be, do you have enough room to scalp out? You might use a limit order here. I'm not crazy about that one. It looks a little congested. I marked it in green, but that's not a high probability trade in my opinion. And then down here, you just got to be careful. I mean, you could probably argue that you've got a triple test by this time, but I don't think I take that trade because you still have this down sloping trend line, and it just held right there. So in fact, you might actually take that short if you got enough room back to these lows. The pink channel, we did just come off the lows, so you got to be very careful there. But that's such a bearish bar off the main trend line, and you would still be thinking, hey, we may make a new low, and there's the breakout of this little congestion area here. We'll just make it a different color so you can see it. You can see that breakout. There's plenty of room back, so you might take that trade. I'll mark it green, and we actually come back again and then turn down. No setup there. You definitely don't want to go short right in all that support there. And this turns out to be a trap. If it wasn't for that trend line, you might take this as a higher low, but that trend line really makes this difficult to take. And you don't get a real reversal pattern here. It just takes off. Unfortunately, there's no good setup on that. And we trend higher, and then you get a break. You try to go higher once, twice. We're not quite back to the EMA. This is not a great reversal or anything, but I guarantee you they trap some traders there. And if you've got room back to that EMA, you may take that trade. It turns out to be a great trade, but I wouldn't take it without room back to that EMA. And then it's still a little aggressive because you're still expecting prices to make a new high here. But you can see prices work on down and then reverse and finally do go higher. This is not a reversal. That's a double bottom. That's a new low. So you just get a first entry out of congestion here. There is a second entry short here that fails, but it doesn't set up right. You could argue that, hey, it's because of the trend line that you can't get back to the EMA, but I just don't think I'd take that trade. I'll give it a green, but it's super aggressive. And then you get your first break, you try to go higher once, twice, and make a new high. You can't go long right into those highs. And of course, once you make that new high, the bottom falls out of it. There's a lower high here, but I'd be wanting not. You can't go short right there. You got to get a reversal or something, and you just don't get it. It just comes all the way back up here. But if you're just patient, and you see here that you get a triple test up here with a big bearish bar way away from the EMA. Actually, this is a little bit lower high than this one, but you can still argue it's a triple test, a lower high. Just a few different reasons that you might consider that. Okay, sorry I had a little interruption. That was my guy coming to work on my tankless hot water. So anyway, triple test there. Nice bearish bar way away from the EMA. I like that one. It's just a first entry short, but you can, I mean, it's obvious we got strong resistance right there and being that far away from the EMA. And it is a lower high too from that one. Drops on down and then we reverse again. And so we're just kind of, I mean, you can kind of see prices playing off this midline of this pink channel. But notice the new low, first entry, second entry, it's a failure. Technically it broke lower and went higher, but that all still looks like one move to me. So I'm okay with that one. I liked it still, treating that as the failure right there, because you're not back to the EMA here, and that's a reason why you got to be careful with those. And it looks like they've got everybody trapped, and then it bounces off the EMA. And with that big bearish bar looking like a trap, I guarantee you they trap the shorts right there, and then off it goes. So I like trading that one to the long side. And you can see, you can tell they definitely had them trapped. Look how it rockets off. We come up here and we're just kind of bouncing sideways here. This is just a double test, and it's right into the EMA, coming out of congestion. I don't think you want to take that trade, but you do get a lower high right here. So maybe you take that trade. I don't think I would take it once this bar closes. However, when it broke higher and then turned back down, and when it goes back through there, maybe you take that trade because there's enough room to scalp out. I don't think I'd take it right into that low. And if you're just patient, a few minutes later you get the true failure and real small bar. I mean, when's the last time you saw a 6-tick signal bar? Not many. Technically this is your signal bar here because it makes the high, but the failure occurred when it went below that little small bar. So technically it's a little bigger than 6 ticks. I believe it's 7 ticks. So and then it comes back here and it tries to go higher 2 more times. So technically this is close enough, you might call that a triple, you know, a new high. And so you might even treat that like a failure. And you can see it definitely works out like one. Bottom just falls out of it. You get a second entry short right here, but the signal bar is no good. But if you're just patient, a few minutes later you get a first entry, second entry, and that signal bar is good enough. I marked this green just because it's not a perfect signal bar, but I think that closes in its bottom third. I think you're all right taking that trade. And then of course we bounce off these lows on this breakout. Notice when we broke out here, we never really came back and tested that. That's what prices are trying to do here. And notice you make a first entry short, then you push through the EMA, pull back, and you get a second entry short. When prices break higher there, that's a failure. Quick, easy move. It doesn't take off there. It actually backs up again here, and then it takes off. I don't see anything else there, but notice that does make a new low. So you could argue that's a failure, but I think you're better off to treat this as a new low and then you get a first entry, second entry, and go long right there. Technically, when it breaks above that bar, it's a failure. if you took this trade, the only problem with this one is you got the overshoot here, and this shoots straight down and goes right through the EMA on just one move. That's a little dangerous. So I don't think you want to treat that as a failure. If you did, I mean, I probably wouldn't. This late in the day, I just don't think it's worth the risking. But if you took that trade, I mean, you probably could argue that it could be at least, because it does meet our criteria. The problem is it closes below the EMA, and you got that one big move all the way down and pushes right through. It should bounce off of it there like it did here to be a good setup. And that pretty much got us through the day. And like I said, I need to get out of here, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hope you had a good trading day. It's going to be a short week. We'll be back tomorrow, and we had some website issues this morning over the weekend. Actually over Memorial Day, we had a little software update, and it happened to be an update that has to do with our email. That we send a lot of emails. We don't do any advertising by email or spamming or anything like that. Anything we send out are things that people subscribe to. However, we have a lot of subscribers over the years, so there's a lot of people on that email list. And so what we do is we use an email forwarder to help keep us from looking like a spammer. People help us with our email, and that software update had a glitch in it, and for whatever reason, we had to turn it off. And so when we turned it off, all those email notifications from the forum, from the stuff we sent out, from the mid-morning chart, we just suddenly sent out a huge number of emails, and so it kind of blacklisted us for a couple of, I think it was AOL and Yahoo that put us on they didn't really blacklist us, but they put us on a delayed program because of the overload of email. So I turned off the forum, so you won't get any forum notifications. I'm just going to leave it off for a couple of days so this kind of passes. We did fix the problem. We found it. We fixed it, and everything's working properly now. And you'll get a notification tomorrow for the mid-morning chart or whatever if you're subscribed to that. But you will not see any forum email notifications for a couple of days. I'm going to leave that off just to kind of let this pass and let us catch up and make sure we don't get delayed or blacklisted or anything like that. So again, the problem's fixed. It was not only was it a problem with our email, it was actually causing a lot of problems on the website too. It was causing PHP errors or whatever. So you would get notifications that there were errors and different things. So I apologize. It never fails. These things always happen on a holiday, and so I try to stay away from, when I'm on vacation or on a holiday, I try to stay away. And I wasn't aware of it, that it was really a problem till this morning. So, but anyway, enough about that. We got it fixed. You won't get any forum emails for a few days, but everything else is working normal again. So anyway, hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Have a little more time tomorrow, but I'm going to wrap it up today. I'm done. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.